Hello everybody, this is Suzanne Connersing from Reclaim Your Practice and Your Life. One of the things that I find truly interesting, especially in this world that we live in, where people have their opinions based on what they feel are facts versus the people who actually know how to understand the facts because they've been educated to do so by, I don't know, perhaps reading hundreds if not thousands of articles to write papers that needed to be graded by professors in order to get their master's degrees? I don't know. I find it incredibly intriguing. What I want you to understand, though, is people who are psychologists, who wrote probably many more papers than I did to get to where you're at, and certainly had to write a much larger paper than I ever had to get your PhD and then defend the thing. You understand deeply and completely what it means to be able to critically think. And I can honestly tell you that this is something that Western society doesn't really seem to care about much anymore. It's all about taking sides. It's all about deciding who is right and who is wrong and losing all shades of gray. One of the things that I learned when I was working in the conventional mental health world back in the early 1990s was the fact that many of the master's level, mental health counselors, I guess you'd call them, had no clue how to actually help the clients they were being employed to help. What I mean by this is that many of my bosses over those years demeaned, disrespected, and basically walked all over the clients in our programs, the same clients that they were employed to help achieve whatever amount of independence they could. And it was really mind-rocking and mind-opening. It's what actually allowed me to take a different path. And I want you to understand that over all the years that I lived in Massachusetts, with more universities than anywhere else in the world, in the Metro Boston area especially, I realized that really, truly, after 3 years of taking a master's program and doing the clinical work afterwards, I'd probably never be able to earn back the money that I'd have to take out in order to get that degree. And I was also very well aware of the fact that the master's level counselors in the programs that I was working at were not making enough money to make their own ends meet because they would talk about it. Not too happily, quite honestly. So it wasn't really where I wanted to go, but I had to figure out a better way to help my clients. And that's why I went to nursing school for 1.5 years. However, the nurses who were training us were rather upset because they were going to lose their jobs in a year because the school was going under financially. They didn't treat the patients and the clinicals too well, and they certainly didn't treat us, the students, very well, and I ended up dropping out because the one thing I did know as a healer was I never wanted to lose my heart. And I learned this at the side of my dad, the dentist. I worked for him from the age of 16 to not quite 21 when I graduated college, alternating with my younger sister when I was in high school, and then working during my college breaks, again, alternating with her. He was a man who was totally dedicated to his art and his profession. He truly loved the marriage of the ceramics, as he called it, because I used to spend a lot of time in the art room doing all kinds of ceramics with the really cool kids who hung out there during our breaks, because we had free time at Horace Greeley High School. It was really set up more like a college environment to get people college ready. So we had free time and we could do what we wanted during that time. And it was a campus set up like a small college campus at the time. In any case, he was explaining to me how his ceramics work, showing me the models that he made in order to help make the crowns that his patients would purchase when their teeth were not doing so well. I learned a whole lot about the art and science of dentistry under his tutelage, and I'm really grateful for that. I also learned why his patients loved him so much, and although I didn't realize that at the time, he really did use a form of hypnotism by always having his patients thinking about things other than the work he was doing. He did this by telling amazing stories. He was a wonderful storyteller, giving them different kinds of mind games to figure out, and telling jokes, even dirty jokes, to nuns. I witnessed it, people. And they laughed because they're human beings. And he had a twinkle in his eyes, and I'm really happy that I actually have eyes that twinkle too when I'm in that very happy state of mind. I can feel it too. It's kind of cool. So I learned how to choose my clients as he chose his patients. I learned how to interact with them in the way that works for them instead of thinking that everybody deserves the same treatment, because this is totally untrue, because we have to meet them where they're at, using the rapport necessary for them to respect us and listen to what we have to say. And sometimes it's with love and guidance, and other times it's just telling them to grow up. Some people need that and want that. They realize they're missing that. And to realize that we have the right to run our practices the way that we choose to. So this whole channel is created to help you learn how to do just that. And I'm going to be offering courses and trainings and mentorships along the way that you can get my guidance. Because I have been able to create the life of my dreams living 3 blocks from the Pacific Ocean here in Mexico, where my US dollars go a hell of a lot quicker than anywhere they could go in the United States. And I've been able to create a life that's really quite wonderful in a lot of ways. And to be able to go places and do things even when I didn't have the financials necessarily to do it, I found ways to make it all happen. I've traveled the world several times. So I want to invite you to think outside the box and to get a better understanding of the tools and techniques that you have, maybe some tools and techniques that you could learn to better help your patients/clients to get the results that they were seeking when they employed you in the first place, and to increase your income, as well as making a practice, a business, location independent, so you too can go where you're treated best. Because my guess is that perhaps the Western world isn't doing so well these days. I haven't lived there in 2 years, just through the news, the little bit I get. And going through it for 25 hours to get here to Mexico from the Dominican Republic. Trust me, that was enough. So these are the things that we're going to be learning as we go forward. Each day I'm going to add a video so that you can get a better idea of what we're going to be doing here. As always, I am thanking you for spending your time with me as I open up your minds to new possibilities of how you can actually build a true business instead of just a practice, and do it from wherever in the world you'd like to be located, as I did. Take care all. Talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.